All right, guys, welcome back to the PMA podcast. Today we have me, Shri,
Ibrahim.
Jishnu.
Teja.
and today we're interviewing.
Nas.
He's a medical M1 student. Do you have any
M2 student.
M2
M2,
student?
M2.
I apologize. My fault.
Yeah, you're good.
Do you have anything you want to say other than just your name, any background info?
Are we gonna have an icebreaker?
You know what? Let's start with that.
Let's start with that.
Yeah.
My fault.
So we were talking off camera about potential icebreakers, and we landed on this question. So Nas, if you had to pick between living in Marvel, New York, or Gotham, DC, which would you rather live in?
So honestly, I'd probably go with Marvel,
Oh yeah,
just because I feel like the Marvel universe is a little bit safer.
yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit safer than going to the DC
Yeah.
universe, just because every time I watch a Batman movie, the Joker seems pretty nuts. And I mean, I get it. Like Thanos is kind of crazy too, because he's over here like
Yeah.
trying to kill half the world. But like, I don't know, half 50-50 chance of living versus like the Joker coming to your house or blowing up a hospital. Like I feel like I don't know, my survivability is probably a little bit higher in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like the Marvel universe also attracts like the normal, like the layman, versus
Yeah.
like DC. Like it's kind of twisted. I don't get me wrong, I love Batman, but the Marvel universe gets the views it does because it actually attracts people, because it seems like a normal world, like a world that could happen tomorrow. DC is like a whole different island.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of that stuff in
Yeah.
there doesn't seem like it's really possible. So.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys
Yeah, I'd have to
That's-
agree.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
so true though.
think?
Yeah, dude, I am gonna get robbed, shot, and killed in DC, bro.
Yeah.
They're just gonna like burn my dead body.
Yeah.
Marvel, on the other hand, like if you think about it, you get snapped away by Thanos, there's a 50% chance you're coming back.
Exactly.
It's not even that painful of a death. You're just like fading away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Painless.
I would say, okay,
Mhm.
imagine you live in DC, and then instead of living in the city of Gotham, you live in like the suburbs, like in the outskirts of Gotham. You're pretty safe. Like Joker only does this stuff like in downtown, you know?
Really.
So
Is Gotham
Yeah.
just Chicago, bro?
Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say.
okay,
Is Gotham just Chicago? Are we in
That's
Gotham
what
right
I
now?
Yeah.
I mean, on the off-brand comics, not off-brand, but like
Huh?
the comics that not everyone reads. Typically, the suburbs are also dangerous of Gotham.
Okay.
Like Gotham's cool and all. You get to see Batman here and there.
Yeah.
He might even save
Even
you.
Batman's scary though. Like,
Yeah,
he's
he's
like
true,
low key.
yeah.
Like,
Batman's not a good person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Marvel.
Uh-huh.
Realistically, Marvel, but like
Mhm.
the inner child in me just wants to see like Gotham, just because of how cool Batman is.
That's fair.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Batman's a badass.
Yes,
So.
he is.
Yeah.
And what do you think?
Okay, personal choice. I am not really a DC fan, but
Uh-huh.
coming to the question of Marvel, New York, or the other one, I would say Marvel, because the chat. Of course, with you just come back with like the snap and everything is happening, but the chances of something you going through or just hitting, I don't think you actually die, because the maximum thinking from a public perspective is just you getting hit to a rock with a rock or a falling building, which mostly happens.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. I don't know.
I
don't
would
know if I can take
rather
that.
I would rather survive a fracture than lose my life in a fire or getting shot.
Yeah.
I think the point is you're like cooked regardless.
Yeah.
It's just like
Look, at that point, just like
It's how you want
it's
to
over.
get cooked.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Yeah.
But you get to see Spider-Man and Marvel.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You
But
gotta-
okay, Marvel. There, I feel
Spider-Man
like
and Miles Morales. Think about
okay,
that.
but imagine right now, okay, you have to go to like an 8 a.m. Orgo lab, you know, and then like you come outside, get in your car, or try to get in your car just to find out Hulk destroyed it.
Dude, I'd be so happy.
Why?
I just go back
That's
to
true.
sleep.
What if it's a final though?
I'll be fine. 8 a.m. Orgo Lab?
Bro.
Hell no. I'm going back to bed, bro.
It's just like I feel like Marvel. There's more destruction.
Uh-huh.
While they're saving
Definitely.
But I
the
feel like there's insurance in Marvel, you know? Like,
Dude.
you get your money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, imagine if I could sue Tony Stark, bro. Dollar,
Dude.
dollar, dollar.
You're not
Yeah.
suing, dude.
Yeah.
His lawyers are probably
Well,
insane.
yeah, they have their own stuff. Like, I think they're with Spider-Man 1, Homecoming,
Mhm.
or I think the first one, I forgot the name, but there's like a destruction management
Oh, yeah,
company
yeah,
that
yeah.
comes
Yeah.
up and cleans up everything.
Exactly.
And I think that's where the vulture happens.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I can't sue Bruce Wayne. I can sue Tony
Mhm.
So
Stark.
you're not winning.
Yeah.
that.
I am. Watch,
Would you
bro.
be
But
able?
realistic, do you think that he's so like he'll pay you
Yeah. Yo, they call me Harvey Specter, bro. Watch. I get in that courtroom, I'm cooking. Trust me.
Sure, you are.
I mean,
You
yeah.
feel that way.
That helps you sleep at night,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, the microns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright.
So moving on, Nas, you are an M2 like we said,
Yeah.
and you have an incredible story. Like when you wrote about your story and sent it to me in preparation for this interview, I know you, but I did not know that much about you until I read that, and it's an insane story. You wanna summarize it for our audience real quick?
Yeah. So basically, I started medical school when I was 29, 28, 29. And a lot of the reason why I started a little bit later was because I decided to take a couple gap years before starting after graduating college. I graduated when I was 24. And then I was like, do I really want to be a doctor? So I went through that whole period where you're just kind of thinking about, you know, the rigors of medicine. You have all these people telling you like, it's really hard. So really be prepared for what you're getting yourself into. You don't want to be doing something and then, you know, get 2 years in and you're like, this sucks. I really don't want to be here. So I had to make sure that's what I wanted to do. A lot of that was in the form of me applying for jobs that pertain to medicine. So I did 3 years of medical assisting during that time. I was also an Uber driver. So let me just kind of backtrack. Right out of undergrad, I was an Uber driver for 6 months. And that was an interesting experience. I'm not going to go too much into that, but that definitely made me appreciate like what people do when they're trying to, you know, make a living, you know, because I was basically out there just trying to get day by day kind of thing, because it fluctuates. Like it depends on how many rides you give is how much money you end up netting each week. So you also have to factor in like oil changes and gas and stuff like that, insurance. So a lot of that was, it taught me how to be frugal. Let me just put it that point, put it that way. So from there, like 6 months in, I was really blessed. I had the opportunity to join the ENT otolaryngology clinic, and that's really where I got to experience medicine. I was like, okay, this is my opportunity. Like, let's see what's up. So I was really blessed because the doctor who ran the clinic, it was a private practice. He really liked taking in medical students or pre-med students because he was like, you guys are going to go into medical school, so you guys can, you know, get to learn the ropes of medicine, private practice, see how to treat patients, interview patients, you know, try to come up with assessments and plans, stuff like that. Stuff that I'm doing now as a medical student, you know, getting to practice, is like the kind of stuff I was doing before I started. So it gave me a good idea about like, oh, okay, this is what it is to be a doctor, which was super cool. I did that for about 1.5 years, had a great time. And then after that, some life stuff happened. So my father unfortunately passed away during that time. So I was like, all right, I got to go back home. Also during that time, I attempted to take the MCAT. I did terrible. And a lot of it had to do with my lack of preparation. But also it's like when somebody dies, you see how short life is, and it makes you want to go pursue things even more because you're like, okay, before I die, this is what I want to achieve. And that was really riding in me. So I was like, all right, I got to go do this. I got to take this exam tomorrow. I should have taken it yesterday. Kind of thing, you know what I mean? So I felt so behind because I was at that point I was like 26. So I was like, damn, like my life's like flying by. I honestly had like a quarter life crisis at that time. I was like, what am I doing with my life? I'm only working at a clinic. You know, I haven't taken the MCAT. I need to get the ball rolling kind of a situation. So I took it, didn't do well. And then I was like, all right, I got to move back up to see my family, be close to them. Found a new place, found a new job, worked at a PM&R clinic, had a great time. For those who don't know what PM&R is, it's pain, medicine, and rehabilitation. It's a really cool subspecialty in medicine. You get to do like spinal injections for people who have pain in their spine. You get to do like spinal cord stimulators to help, you know, prevent pain, or not prevent pain, but like lessen the amount of pain that people have in their body. And they do some other things too for like stroke. So it's a really cool subspecialty. I highly recommend checking it out. A lot of people have actually started to look into it as pre-med or and medical students because it has a really good lifestyle as well. It's like a 9-to-5 job, and they get paid pretty well. And just the impact you have on your patients is, just think about it. If you're able to rehabilitate somebody who encountered a stroke, right? They have a stroke, and you're able to bring them back to baseline, or even better than that, then you save someone's life. So it's super cool. So highly recommend you guys check it out when you guys are done with this if you haven't heard about it. But yeah. And they work closely with like orthopedics. They work close with like neurology and stuff like that too. So. But anyways, I worked at the PMR clinic for about 1 year. During that time, actually, I got my reviews back for my first time I applied to medical school. So they basically said, I got denied. So I applied to like 40 schools, and I got denied by all of them because again, my MCAT was terrible. Personal statement was trash. After reading it now, I'm just like, God, I wouldn't even give me a secondary, like if I'm being honest. And I think because I applied during COVID, that's kind of why they were just giving out secondaries to everybody.
Okay.
So I didn't have to pay for them, which was I was grateful for, because I had the fee assistance program for AMC.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend you guys try that out too if you guys have the opportunity. They'll pay for your MCAT and they'll pay for 20 or 30 20 yeah, so 20 secondaries, which is really nice. So I recommend checking it out. But yeah, so I got all of those rejections during that time. Like literally at the start of the year, I got that job and I got denied. So I was like, dang, this sucks. So I was like, all right, back to the MCAT grind. So I took the MCAT again. I actually took it literally a month after I started the job, and I did a little bit better. Still not as good as I thought I would be doing. And then I literally got to like the point where I was like, oh, I'm sitting around a 508. So let's just grind it out. Like, let's just keep moving towards that needle, try to get a little bit higher. And I set myself up a couple different goal posts. And unfortunately, I still wasn't able to hit it. So I took it for a third time. And then I was like, all right, this is my last shot, because now it's June. Like, this is like 6 months in. It's June. I have a new job. I can't keep missing because I was working 4 days a week. I said I needed my Fridays off so I can study, because I wanted to take a full-length exam each week. So I was like, all right, I need to kill this exam. Let's do this. I've been getting, 508, 510 in my practice. Like, I need to do it. Take it a third time. Did not do as good. And I was like, what's going on? So I was so mad at myself. And then I just realized I have like terrible test anxiety. And I still do to some level now in medical school. But medical school is so different. And I'll talk about this at another time. But like the MCAT is just such a different exam than what you see in medical school. So basically I applied during that year. And that's my second time applying to medical school. And I finally got an interview to UIC. Well, let me go back for 1 second. I actually got an interview at AT Still University. So I applied DO and MD. I got an interview at AT Still. I didn't really like their program, if I'm being honest. It was more for like rural medicine. And it wasn't really what I wanted to do at the time. But I was like, if this is the only opportunity I have, I might as well take it, kind of thing. So I was grateful that I had the opportunity. So I went to the interview. They're okay. Like, they're a cool program, especially if that's something that you want to do. But it just wasn't my vibe. I did their interview process. Got rejected in February. I was like, dang, I didn't even want to go there. I thought I was so butthurt by that too. Yeah, the rejection from a medical school is just different. Like, I don't know why. It just hurts. It hurts in a different way. So then literally a month later, UIC hits me up and they're like, we'd like to offer you a spot in our PAP program. And PAP program, it's not the same PAP program that you guys have in undergrad. On UIC, it's a different PAP program through the Urban Health Program here at UIC. Or UICOM. So they offered me a position in there, and they said, well, an interview for a position, put it that way. And then they also offered me an opportunity to join their medical school class of 2023. So I was like, okay. So I took the interview, and then they're like, all right, so here are the things you have to do. You have to maintain a 3.0 in their program. I was like, okay. So after we take the MCAT, and I was like, that's great. And then they're like, just like professionalism and stuff like that, show that you're working towards, you're working towards improving yourself, kind of thing. And I was like, okay, cool. So did that program for a year, excelled in it, was really happy with everything that I did in there, and got to make some really cool connections, got to learn a ton. And that's allowed me to do a lot of the things that I enjoy doing in medical school now, because I built such a great foundation in the PAP program that I didn't have to study. Like, I don't have to study as hard in medical school now because I have such a good foundation in the sciences and anatomy. So it's allowed me to do other things like leadership, do research. I also get to teach. So I teach a lot of the classes for like M1s and stuff like that, because our tutor, sorry, not teach, but I get to tutor a lot of the classes. So it's really cool.
Great.
So before we were speaking, you talked about how you have to become efficient and like you have to work hard. Can you like describe more like how you got efficient and like how you got? Was it because of the PAP program, or was it just you kind of have to balance studying for the MCAT and working like a full-time job?
No, that's a great question. It's actually like two parts. So I would definitely say having a job, but also working the MCAT. So in terms of like having a job, I was that person literally at both clinics where it's just like I wanted to find efficient ways to get things done. Like, I hate having to do mundane tasks, like doing the same thing, like entering notes. So I was a guy that was like trying to learn how to get shortcuts in Epic, or trying to get like programs to like scripting, because I like to script. or like learning like really basic code so I can make a program that would do something for me. So this is before the onset of, you know, ChatGPT, guys. So this is before ChatGPT. So I was like, I didn't have something that could just like do something for me when I needed
Right.
to. But yeah, so I was very much so like always into efficiency. So I felt like when it came to the PAP program, it was like, all right, how can we do anatomy, literally like rigorous anatomy too? Like we're doing 400 level anatomy classes, and the classes require you to like be both in person and lab, but also be able to do an exam. So there's 2 exams. It's a practical portion, that's the one that you do in the lab, and then there's a written portion, and they're both like 80 questions each. So they're like pretty difficult, and they're asking very specific aspects of anatomy. So that class was not easy, but being able to like come out with an A, I was like, dude, like I did that, you know what I mean? And I didn't have the best GPA going into medical school, going to the PAP program. That's why I got selected into the PAP program, because they thought I needed academic support. But I was able to prove like, no, like if you work hard enough, you don't need to be like naturally smart. And I'm not naturally smart. I just know how to work hard. And I think that's what's benefited me over my time in medical school.
That's really great. And one of the things that was really nice that you told about was the amount of rejections that you faced, but your persistence and determination to like, you know, keep coming back and coming back again. So as pre-med students and trying to figure out our stuff, so what would you like, you know, give us a good advice on facing rejections, especially when you mentioned, you know, facing a rejection, especially in medical school, is different. So what would you advise us about it?
I think it's like kind of like general advice, right? So when it comes to rejection, just in general, like don't take it to heart. Like keep in mind there's thousands of people applying for that one spot. They're just trying to find the best person for that cohort. So you might not be the right fit for that school at that time, but there's obviously other schools that want you. So don't take it to heart. I think that's the main thing. I would use it as an opportunity for feedback. That is something that I reached out to the different programs that rejected me. I was like, is there something I can improve on for next year? And to get that feedback, if they're willing to sit down and have a meeting with you, and you're able to take that feedback and apply it to the next cycle, I think there's a lot of benefit in doing that. So yeah, those are just some things that I would do. Just always ask for feedback. Be like, you know, and don't go in like, if you act butthurt, they can sense it. So don't act butthurt. Just be genuine. Just be like, hey, like I'm really curious. Like I worked really hard. I would love to have some feedback so I can improve my application. Send them an email, and then they'll get back to you, and they'll be super honest. I got some great feedback. People told me like I should do a program like the PAP program because I didn't have a good GPA, and they're like, okay, you should also do your personal statement wasn't that great either, so you should probably get somebody to help you with your personal statement. And I was like, yeah, no. Again, I told you guys, looking back, my personal statement was pretty trash, so it made a huge impact getting that feedback. I highly recommend everyone always try to get feedback if you can.
Yeah. So looking back in your personal journey, you had a lot of challenges, and you've had a lot of obstacles. So I feel like most people, when they get to the point where you were, they would like give up. You know? So what stopped you from saying like I give up, like I'm gonna pursue something else?
Good question. So why didn't I give up? I think for me, a lot of it had to do with like my mentality. So again, my dad's Asian Indian. My mom is Nigerian Cameroonian. Right. So it's like I kind of grew up in a culture that's kind of like you got to keep pushing, like no matter what. It's kind of like it's just that mentality, right? So it's just for me, I kind of just grew up around that. But also, I'm really hard-headed. So it's like I don't like people telling me I can't do something. Yeah. And if the MCAT's the only barrier to me getting into medical school, then I'm literally gonna destroy it. Like I'm gonna do my best to destroy it so I can get in. Wow. So like I'm very much so I'll never give up. Like I literally just told this to somebody, like I would rather die than not accomplish my goals. And that's truly how I feel. So that's kind of why, I mean, that's not even kind of why, that's literally why I got into medical school. But also my willingness to like be flexible, understand like where I'm lacking, and learn from my mistakes. I think that's another big thing. That's yeah.
I see.
Really impressive.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great mindset to have, especially as a pre-med student. A lot of people, I'm not sure what the exact percentage is, people getting into med school, but it's around like 50% or lower. And a lot of people stop after their first rejection. Yeah. So that's a really good mindset to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know you mentioned that you shadowed at an ENT or worked at a PAMP
PMR.
PMNR.
PMNR
Yeah.
PMR.
clinic.
Yeah.
So could you elaborate more on that and how like that allowed you to learn more about medicine and how that, I guess, contributed to wanting to become a physician and even like contribute towards that journey?
Yeah. So just to recap, you want some information about like my experience working in the ENT clinic as well as the PMR clinic and how that impacted me or set my vision in pursuing medicine, right? Okay. So for the ENT clinic, that was my first experience in working in medicine. So it was really cool because again, like that doctor was very much so like on the side of pre-meds. So he really wanted to see us shine. He really wanted to see us all go to medical school, and he was willing to put us in the patient room. Even at times when it's probably like, you know, I was like holding the tools and stuff when he was doing it septoplasty, and I was like, I don't know if I'm qualified to be doing all these things, but if you're willing to let me do it, like it's a great opportunity. Like nobody got hurt or anything like that, but it was just a great experience to be like, all right, like I'm actually taking care of this patient. You know, like for example, I had a patient come in and I had the opportunity to like, because he was seeing like so many patients at the time, and it's only one doctor on rotation, so there's 2 in total, but one was on rotation for him that week. So he would let me go in and he was like, all right, he took a lesion off of someone's head. It was like a basal cell or something like that. Took it off and he was like, all right, Nas, go ahead and start suturing this guy up on the head. It's superficial. It was superficial. Like that's the kind of stuff medical students do, right? So I was like, I've never sutured somebody before, but if you're okay with it, and it's on their face too. I'm like, bro, you sure? And he was like, yeah, just I'll come back in 5 minutes. I was like, okay. So I started. He numbed the spot up and everything. So the guy didn't have any pain or anything like that. But I was like, this is nerve-wracking. And on my hand sitting there, and I'm like shaking as I'm trying to like get the first knot in. I was like, dude, this is really cool because this is an opportunity that many people don't have. But at the same time, it's nerve-wracking because I've never done this before. So it definitely pushed me on the edge of my comfort zone, or out of my comfort zone, I'd even say. But it taught me a valuable lesson, like about patient care, just being able to just help your patient, regardless of what it is, right? Like I could have just roomed that patient and then left, right? But now I'm sitting there putting a suture on the side of their head. It's like,
so how'd you do?
He said I did okay.
Really?
Yeah, he said I did good. He said I did good.
That's
I'm
great.
underselling by saying okay. He said I did good, and then he gave me a little slap on the back. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. So that was like one thing from like the ENT clinic. ENT clinic also afforded me the ability to like do a patient history. So I got to sit down with the patient, like literally go call their name, take them to the room, and then talk to them, and get like a complete history about why they're there. And that's something that we do now in medical school. So that was a really cool skill coming in because now I got to interview patients and start to write into their chart. So I thought that was really cool because it was kind of like a scribing / medical student kind of thing. So it made me feel like I was closer to like a residency, like a resident level, just because I was being able to do all that stuff. And then once in a while they would like, what's what they call pimping. So they asked me questions related to medicine. And excuse me. And what they would do would be like, all right, so then what's the next plan? Like, what's the plan of action for this patient? So we'd be talking and it'd be like, all right, they have eustachian tube dysfunction. Should we put in a tube, myringotomy tube, or should we just let it, wait out or what? And I'd just be like, I don't know. Like, I don't even understand the medicine you guys are talking about, but like I've been around long enough, but at the same time, I still don't know what the treatment are. So it was just a cool experience because you got to learn quite a bit from the ENT clinic.
Yeah. So, okay, that's your clinical experience, I feel like, you definitely learned a lot because it's clinical, right?
Yeah.
But you said you drove for Uber, right?
Yeah.
Did you learn anything while driving for Uber that shaped how you view patient care or healthcare in any way?
So for me, for the whole Uber situation, like for me, it was more so just appreciation for blue collar work. Because like my family, my dad's a civil engineer, my mom owns her own business. So I've never had to work outside of that. And that was my first job ever getting out of undergrad. So it was a genuine appreciation for just people who literally service industry, people who provide service, and being able to understand, all right, so you literally have to work all of these hours for you to get paid. Because if you don't work them, it's not like, stocks or something where you can just kind of sit back and relax or go on a trip while you see your money increase. Like you actually have to work like 9 to 5 or 9 to 9. So I was working really long hours for 6 months straight, and I did that just so I could support myself. So I mean, it taught me valuable lessons about the value of a dollar, about how to be on time, because Uber, obviously if you're late to a ride, or if you keep switching it up or canceling, they're not going to pay you. So you have to be, you legitimately have to be on point with that stuff too.
Mhm.
And then I also had to figure out, like, I ran Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, and DoorDash all at the
Oh
same
my
time.
God.
So like trying to balance all that, because sometimes I would get an Uber and a Lyft ride at the same time,
Oh,
and then I'll also be doing a Grubhub, and I'd be like, dang, bro. Like I think I like really learning how to, like, all right, balance everything, because I really didn't know. Like I was still young at that time,
Uh-huh.
so I was like, it taught me how to really balance my schedule.
Yeah.
And to really go for the one. So I basically learned, like, I should probably focus on the one that pays out the most, and that tended to be
Makes
Uber
sense.
at the time.
Mm.
Now Uber pays trash, but
Uh-huh.
I only know that because I take an Uber here and there. So
Yeah.
I'm always asking them, like, how does it pay? And they're like, no. At least in
Yeah.
Chicago, it doesn't pay well. There's too many taxes and fees.
No,
Mm.
yeah, I know a bunch of Uber drivers, and they all tell me the same thing, that they,
Oh.
they don't really pay that well.
It's unfortunate. It's
Okay.
unfortunate. Back in the day, they did pay really well,
Right.
though. They had a lot of bonuses. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's great.
So,
do you
yeah.
want to say something?
go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Med school is like a professional school, and I've talked to med students here who've said that taking gap years have really helped them at least nail down the professional aspect. Because they say there's some people in here that go straight through the pipeline, 4 years into college and then straight into med school. And at least one of them said that sometimes it makes these people like really unprofessional. It's not to their own fault. It's just the fact that they don't understand the fact that it's not college anymore.
Yeah.
So would you say, as someone who's like spent a lot of time in a professional environment, professional medical environment, on top of that taking like multiple gap years, has that helped you exceed here, at least in terms of like standing out more compared to other students in your class?
I can't say like I stand out, because that's somebody else's perspective. Like, to me, I'm an individual, so do I hope I stand out in a positive light? Yes, but just in general, I don't know. I can't answer that.
Right.
Definitely the professional aspect, I do find myself to be more professional, just in general, compared to my counterparts, but not in a negative sense. I'm not going to say like my class is unprofessional. There's definitely certain people in my class who are a little bit younger, a little bit more mature, but that comes with age, right? So if you didn't have, like you said, if you went from 4 years undergrad straight into 4 years of medical school, the chances of you having experiences that made you more professional is probably slim.
Okay.
So having those gap years, even if it's one gap year, you're going to be able to have the opportunity to like either travel or have experience with other people, like volunteering or something, where you have to be professional. Because if you're not professional, you'll get kicked out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and professionalism is a huge part of medical school. So they really do try to nail that down. They're like, guys, you need to be professional. You need to act a certain way. You need to treat people with a certain level of respect and stuff like that. A lot of it is stuff that your parents teach you, but a lot of people seem to like forget it, which kind of confuses me. Because it's like, what were your parents doing then? I don't know. So, but yeah, I feel like also, again, coming from like a Nigerian, Cameroonian, Asian Indian family, like they taught me a lot of that stuff too. So it really wasn't hard. Like a lot of the common sense stuff isn't hard. A lot of people just forget about it because they want to. Like I don't know why people lose it, but I think it's something that should just be innate to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about like just professionalism and just advice in general, so what advice is a good piece of advice that you received or you would give if you were just talking to your future self or just any younger upcoming pre-med students with all those processes, the personal statement? You mentioned how it was like you still like wouldn't do your stuff.
Yeah.
So any advices regarding that, like just how to be there?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, it's like, again, getting the feedback. So if you know you need help, then literally ask for help, but also get the feedback. I think it's super important to get the feedback, just because if you're trying to reiterate on something and you're trying to improve something, you need to have another perspective. So it's really valuable to have multiple eyes when it comes to anything in life. Like even if you want feedback on yourself, like, hey, do I come off this way to somebody? Like, I think that's super important too, because if you have good friends, they're gonna call you out. They're gonna be like, hey, no, like don't do that. Like that's not cool. Versus somebody who's just like they're just chilling, they don't really care about your character and the impacts it has on other people. I mean, obviously that's not really helpful to you, because you're just going to keep acting a certain way, and that's, if it's not professional or it's inappropriate and people are bothered by it, then you'll never really know. So I think it's super important to like always get renewed feedback and information about yourself. I'm in that light. In terms of another thing that I always strive to do, it's like never give up. Like I always say, like as I told you, I'm like a bull. So when it comes to like, even if I miss my goalpost, like I'm gonna continue to like I'll keep turning around. Even if I slip, I'll get back up and I'll
Mhm.
keep going towards my goal because I'm very much so like that. That's how my brain works. Like and the problem is like I can't fight it. Like it's just innate to me because I'm like naturally just like that. So for me, honestly, I would just say never give up and just keep working towards your goals. Yeah. Because if you want something, you'll make it happen, and that's I'm a true believer of that. If you really want something, you'll make it happen, regardless of what it takes to whatever it takes to get there, you'll do it.
One thing that you wrote about when you were telling me about your journey that you didn't really touch too much about in this interview was the fact that your family was there to support you financially and emotionally.
Yeah.
I think specifically it was your sister. So how important do you think having that support system in your journey was?
It was honestly, it was probably the most impactful aspect of my journey. Yeah, I would say like if you have somebody there that understands, even beyond family, like let's say you have a really good friend, or just like a cousin or something who can just be there, who understands the process of applying to medical school, but also just understands medical school in general, then they're able to provide you with a perspective that nobody else can. Because if you talk to a layman about medical school or just the process of applying to it, for example, if you're like, man, I was really aiming for that 513, I got a 511, they'll be like, dude, you're right there. Why does it matter? You're good. They won't understand. You know what I mean? But if you talk to somebody who was in that place just like you, they'll be like, man, I'm so sorry. Like, and then they might be able to give you some feedback about some pointers about maybe how you can modify your the way you're taking the exam or the way you're looking at questions so that you can get that 513 or 515 plus. So
yeah. So what would you say to pre-meds who don't have that luxury of having a support system like you did?
Honestly, like Reddit's a big thing.
Really?
I know. Yeah, I would reach out. Like, I would not do a student doctor network because a lot of people on there are like pretty toxic. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure there's like some good people on there too. It's like especially the attending's probably pretty chill, but like other medical students giving other medical students advice when they don't understand the process and they're just they got in. Like, I'm gonna be honest, half of us got in and we're just blessed to be in. So I can't give you any advice beyond the fact that I got lucky to be here, because it'd be ingenuine to like anything that I've done, right? Because like I'm very lucky to be in the place that I'm in now. Can I have guaranteed I'd be here like 5 years ago? No. So I'm very lucky to be in the place I'm at right now. So I can only be there to like for moral support and give you the advice that I wish somebody gave me when I was applying. But for you to say like, oh, you had a 520 and have a 4.0 and you'll definitely get in, even people with those stats aren't getting in. And a lot of it has to do with like several other factors. So I think it's super important to be realistic and just have a good view of everything that encompasses applying to medical school and being a medical student. Because a lot of people go in and they think they know what they're talking about and they really don't. So it's super valuable to have somebody else's perspective and to get advice that's genuine. And I wouldn't take it from another pre-med. I would take it from somebody who's actually in that place. So there's a lot of value. Like doing this, like having this conversation right now is super valuable because you guys are getting to hear perspectives that you probably haven't heard before, or probably just add something to what you guys really think. So
yeah, one piece of advice that someone told me that I won't forget is she said, find somebody who's in a place that you want to be in, like a couple years down the road, and then just reach out to them and try to get some advice from them.
I think that's great. I do the same thing. Like I'm always reaching out to my attendings. I'm reaching out to other people in research, the places that places I want to be in, because they've obviously achieved it. So why not reach out to them and see what's up? So that's it's highly valuable. I agree.
And then on that note, I know you reached out to a lot of people and you got a lot of advice back. Looking back, if you could change one thing during your pre-med journey, what do you think you would change?
Honestly, so when I saw that question, I was like, there's a couple of things I'd want to change, but they're things that made me the man I am today, so I probably wouldn't want to change them. The only thing I would probably change though would be the age at which I applied to medical school and got in. Just because now I want to pursue a PhD, and MD PhD, and that's 8 years total. So by the time I graduate, I just turned 30. So by the time I turn 36, I'd be done with medical school. So I'm like, damn. But if it's something that I want to do, which it is, then it's worthwhile. Because either way, I was going to get a PhD. I just might as well do it while I'm in medical school.
If it helps, you look way younger than 30.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
Just
it.
want to say that.
Thank you.
I don't really have any questions for you guys.
Yeah.
I have a fun like ending question, but
go ahead.
MJ or Jordan?
Uh,
Or MJ or
MJ.
LeBron? My bad. No,
It's
I'm
LeBron,
playing.
bro.
No comment.
So have you ever like this is more about music because like this year's been like crazy for music. Have you even had time to listen to like any new like artists or like any new pieces that you like really mess with?
Yeah.
Like any recommendations?
So honestly, I am a musician. I play the guitar.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Yeah, I play the guitar, and I like to produce music on FL Studio.
Mhm.
I did that a lot more part of medical school, but right now I just play mostly guitar.
Mhm.
Have I found anybody recently? I'm trying to think. Honestly, I can't. Like, let me just look on my phone because I'm a creature of habit. So it's like
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of the same artists.
While you're
But-
looking, I have a follow-up question about that.
Yeah, what's up?
You want to be a surgeon, right? You
I
want to go
do.
into surgery?
That is correct.
Okay. What's your OR music?
Dude, I'm a metalhead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a metalhead, dude.
Uh-huh.
I'm a metalhead, but I like a lot of different music. So
Yeah.
like a lot of different genres. I like metal because I grew up around metal, but I also grew up around like Indian music. So it's like it's kind of like it'd be a mix. And then I
Yeah.
also really like the oud. So I
Uh-huh.
listen to like a lot of the Arabic music stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's that. I like rap, but
Uh-huh.
rap is not my favorite genre.
Yeah.
There's just certain styles of rap that I enjoy, and I do
Yeah.
not like the new style of rap. I genuinely like. I'm an old head. If you look into rap,
Uh-huh.
I definitely enjoy J. Cole. He's one of my favorite rappers.
He dropped this or he re-dropped his mixtape.
Really?
His first mixtape on Spotify.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I need to check it out because
Mhm.
hold up. Let me open my phone up again. 'Cause we were talking about the Sleep Token. That's what I've been listening to. Sleep Token. They're like a new metal band.
Mhm.
They're pretty good. They're from England. Highly recommend it.
Mhm.
Do you go to concerts a lot, or do you play at any venues with your guitar?
So I haven't played any venues, but
Mhm.
we do like a lot of the events here at UIC. So I'm a part of the Heartbeats program,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just like a bunch of musicians that came together to play at different events. So they had us at St. Baldrick's last year at the
Oh.
hospital. That was pretty cool. We just played yesterday night. Actually, we played at the South Loop Community Table, which is pretty cool. And then before that, on Friday, we actually played really across from this room over here in 227.
Mhm.
It was like the auditorium hall, and we just played for the anatomy service. Just grateful for all the opportunities
right.
with the
I think you
anatomy
mentioned
cadavers,
that.
like just thinking the families and
Yeah, yeah.
the people who gave their lives for us to afford our medical education. So.
That's cool. Mhm.
What about you guys? Any new music? Any old music?
I mean, I really like Tyler's new album.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah,
Is it pretty good?
Chromacopia.
It's so
Yeah.
good. Like it brought me to cry, bro.
Really?
That's
Really?
Okay.
Judge Judy. Oh my god.
Okay. Is that the song, Judge Judy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about
I'll add it to my queue.
yeah. What
Yeah.
about you?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't really been like listening to a lot of new music recently. I have seen that Tyler new album on TikTok with like edits. Like you know the song that's
I
like,
like that.
I'm gonna make it out.
Have you
I'm gonna
seen
make
the
it out.
NBA
that's like
edits?
Coma?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I keep
Oh, I
seeing
need
that
to
on
show you
TikTok.
one. They're so
Yeah, yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should make a NASA TikTok edit. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, your story. I think
Yeah.
it deserves one. not
Oh, yeah, it'd
gonna
be
lie.
perfect for
appreciate
one.
it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna show me a TikTok. I don't use TikTok. I'm too old for TikTok. Bro. Yeah, I know people in my family who are way older than me who are on TikTok, but I'm just like I can't be bothered. With it,
Yeah.
bro.
No, I
Oh,
keep
baby.
seeing like edits with like LeBron as a kid, for example.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's like a Kanye song, like someday or something.
yeah.
I could see that, like a
There's
Nas
a
as a
Kobe
kid.
edit.
And then,
Yeah.
I got pictures.
yeah.
I got pictures.
Yeah.
All right. I think we had a pretty cool conversation.
Yep.
Any ending thoughts, questions, comments?
I mean, just an insane story. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Thank you.
There's one thing I want to say is just like really, if you want to achieve something, just work really hard.
Yeah.
I think anybody can accomplish their goals. I think it just
Yeah.
really comes with the work and the efficiency that goes behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be naturally smart to get in medical school.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how smart you are, it doesn't matter. If you can't work hard, then you're not going to be able to achieve it. So, putting that, and then also be professional. No matter what you do, always be professional.
Yeah.
There are certain people who struggle with professionalism, and I think just go back to your parents' teaching.
Yeah.
Your parents taught you how to be an adult.
Mhm.
But, when you were a child.
Yeah.
That's me. Just use those skills, and you'll be successful.
That's good to hear.
We appreciate your time a lot. Thank you for the
Yeah,
conversation.
good luck in the future, man.
You know,
Thank you. You
so
guys as
much.
well. You guys got this.
good luck with your PhD.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We are signing out. This is Shri
Ibrahim.
Just sure.
and our guest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.